Hello guys, I thought I'd come on here today to not rant any advice at you, to not, pressure you with anything or give you any major mental health advice. I kind of want to provide you some comfort. This week, for most of the world, but mainly for Americans, has been extremely tense. The US election has really brought out the best but also the worst of the United States. And as much as it's a US presidential election, which you would think would just apply to the USA, it has affected people all over the world. And even on the day I'm filming this, which is on a Saturday, we still don't know who's won the election. During these periods of very intense, very mainstream media coverage of something that is so big and will affect so many people's lives in so many different ways, it's very easy to forget who we really are and to forget how, you need to look after yourself. This election has been one of the biggest elections for many, many years, basically in US history. More people have voted in this election than ever before, and the two candidates for this election have been very diverse and so different to the point where you kind of look at it and you think, my God, there are very two different people right there. On one side you've got Donald Trump, making America great again. He's this massive business guy. He's made a lot of mistakes over the last 4 years. And you'd be like, yeah, that guy just forget about him. Then you got Biden, who wants to control the virus, make the economy a bit more stable, bring back healthcare, fix, United relations and all this good stuff. And you think it'd be pretty obvious who's going to win this election. But no surprise, well actually quite a big surprise to us all, is that no, it wasn't like that. This US election was one of the most tense elections and one of the most closest elections of all time. And what didn't help is that the way votes were counted this year was very different. Mail-in ballots were the main process, and mail-in ballots, instead of kind of the normal way you vote, take a lot longer to count and get a result from, which is why even after 2 days after the main election day, we are still waiting for a result of who is going to be the next US president. Actually, I haven't checked since filming this, so I don't know if that has been a result. I hope not. But the point of this is to not brag about how difficult this election been or, how crazy it's been. I want to provide some comfort to you guys. I really want to, reaffirm how reality is and the reality of what's about to take place. As much as we all hate politics, as much as we are all like, man, it's just a big waste of time, it's just a bunch of dudes who stick together a manifesto and then basically don't do anything on their manifesto, do something completely different, and they're basically all a waste of time, which I can't lie to you, I kind of agree with. We all have to kind of stick together and realise that without politicians, without the government, without all the people that work in government, we wouldn't be safe, we wouldn't have an economy, we wouldn't be having food on our table every night, and we wouldn't have a roof over our head. And by you voting for who you genuinely think is going to do your country the better, you are helping your country proceed. You're helping your country give you better living qualities, making sure that food is on the table, making sure you've got good healthcare, making sure any national security threat is dealt with in the correct and precise manner. Without you voting, you can't really expect a good president to become in charge. But no matter what the outcome, I want you to remember this one theory. Now, there's one thing that I think we all think about when we think US president. Is the fact that this man or woman, whoever comes into power, has the powers to launch a nuclear weapon. And it's one of the most scariest powers they have. But what you have to remember, with all these powers that comes with being the United States president and pretty much any country that has a nuclear weapons leader, is this theory. There was a theory developed by scientists and politicians all over the world called nuclear Armageddon. The meaning and the saying goes that global destruction is likely. But what prevents global destruction and nukes being thrown around everywhere by different powers is that the idea that if one leader launches a nuke, he will cause global destruction and end humanity. And that's why we don't see so many wars, we don't see so many political controversies between countries. And it's why you don't see leaders pressing that nuclear button. Because the minute they launch a nuke, they know that they're going to have another 5 nukes heading towards them, causing nuclear Armageddon. It's a theory that's kept us safe for so many years, and it's the reason a lot of us have nuclear deterrence. Countries create nukes and store them in their military powers, not to use and not to necessarily, permit to go and destroy something, but they just keep them there to be able to say, "Oi, Billy, I've got a nuke, you've got a nuke. If you fire your nukes, I'll fire my nukes. And if you piss me off, I'll fire nukes. So don't piss me off." Basically how it goes. It's been the tensions between North Korea and the United States for so long, and the only reason these two countries haven't gone ahead and literally obliterated each other is because both men, the leaders of both countries, were sitting there saying to each other, "Look, I have a big nuclear button, you have a big nuclear button. We could destroy the world if we go to war. So, let's not." It's the reason why the Soviet Union and the United States didn't go to war all them years ago. Because they knew the minute they started to go to war, the end of humanity was gonna come. So yes, the presidential election and the choice of what man goes into power is important. And tensions all across the globe need to be controlled by at least one person. And the lawful and personal decision that you make to who is in power is definitely going to make a difference. But please remember this. The chances of the man in office actually destroying your country or causing a global destructive or global Armageddon is unlikely. Because if that man's even got one brain cell within his head, he will know that the minute he presses that nuclear button, the entire world goes down with it. So yes, this election is freaking scary. And depending on your diverse opinions, if one of these men gets into office, your ideals are not going to be met, and your version of what reality should be is going to go down the drain hole, which for a lot of us is freaking scary. I personally don't want another 4 years of Donald Trump, in my opinion, a literal psychopath being in the United States office. But there's going to be different opinions on that, and everyone who votes for Donald Trump clearly wants him in office. But even Donald Trump, the absolute maniac that he's been over the last 4 years, being considered one of the most exciting and thrilling and dreadful presidents we've ever had, even he was incapable of destroying the United States of America, even though he had the nuclear button right in front of him. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't think this guy went into office with a mindset of, I actually want to make America great again. I think he went in with a mindset of, I will get a load of popularity, I will get a load of money, I'll get my own protection, and life will be fancy-dancy. Don't think he went in with a mindset of, actually, let's make America great again. Because, let's face it, he's really not. So guys, once this US election has finally proceeded, and we know who the next president of the United States is gonna be, on the 20th of January next year, when the inauguration comes around, we know who's gonna be in that office, in charge, being one of the most powerful men on the globe. We need to come together, well, the United States anyway, need to come together as one nation. At the end of the day, no matter if you're red or blue, Democratic or Republican, you are one country. And at the end of the day, if one of you messes up, it goes for all of you. You need to tell your president what you want, what you need, how it needs to be done. Protest. Make sure Joe Biden, if he gets into office, or Donald Trump, really knows where he stands. As much as he's your leader, or whoever gets into power is your leader, he's also your representative. He's your main man to go to when global or political issues get too rough. And if he's the best choice for your country, whatever you say, he'll listen to. But it's gonna take group effort. It's gonna take you guys sticking together. For the mental health of everyone, so that no one falls into a state of poverty, or a state of delusionation, or quite frankly, the country just becoming so unstable to the point where it ends up into a civil war. You all need to come together, no matter if you're a Republican or Democrat, and work together to make your country better than it was under the Donald Trump administration 4 years ago. And if the man that you didn't want to get into office comes into office, it's time to either accept or promote, or detest, in other words. Basically, make sure you're protesting. But the last thing the United States needs right now is conflict. People out on the street causing destruction, causing harm, and trying to do things that in their heads is going to make the government listen. The last thing the government is going to listen to is a bunch of dudes outside the White House with a bunch of guns shooting at the windows. Not going to happen. The chances are you'll just get a bullet in your face by the Secret Service. So guys, if you're living in the United States right now, please, I encourage you to come together as one country and work together to use the best capabilities of the next president to make sure that your country leads down the right path. But at the end of the day, no matter whoever sits in that White House does not belong to that president. It belongs to the people. The White House is actually nicknamed the People's House. It's the House of America, and whoever lives in it is the president. But that doesn't mean that president can tell you guys what to do. It means he represents the public and tries to make whatever the public want happen. So stand up for what you need, what your rights are, and how your political leaders need to be. But most importantly, guys, stick together.